What's going on, and welcome to SPN Lineups, baby. Featuring Philly D and Steve the Fantasy Champ Assassin. Check us out on Twitter at SPN Lineups. Find our videos at No Limit Fantasy Sports, and that's on Facebook and Instagram. Check out CryptoFantasySports.com. Today we're talking NBA, and we run our very own tournament on Crypto Fantasy Sports. We call it the SPN Lineup Special. We run it every day. It's free to enter, and you can win $10 in No Limit coin. There's a catch, though. Make sure you're listening. You have to include the player I'll be naming later in the show. If you are the highest scoring team with that player, you win the prize. So last night's winner, of course, Jordan is one. Yes, he is. I knew another Jordan was pretty good at basketball. Congratulations, buddy. Leave us the comment with your NLC2 address. And yeah, Jordan is one. Did not finish in first. He finished in what, 9th, was it, Steve?
It was 7th, but, you know,
7th.
pretty much.
7th, but he was the highest scoring team with our player of the day, Victor Oladipo. So make sure to pay attention to the freaking show. All right. You can sign up to Crypto Fantasy Sports using the links below for exclusive bonuses. Steve, how the heck you doing?
I'm feeling a lot better winning that head-to-head last night, right?
Woo! Forgot to mention that. Shout out to JB the Great. We went toe-to-toe in a $5,000 head-to-head. It was neck and neck the whole night. Came down to Quinn Cook versus Nick Young. And if you watch the game, Quinn Cook was just taking... Every second shot was Quinn Cook, so it was what it was. But yeah, thanks for playing. And hey, anybody else wanna play the champs over here? 500 NLC minimum. We're down for anything and anybody. Let's go.
Get at us.
What?
A lot happened last night, though, and I want to start you off here with Cleveland and the Bucks. Now, Cleveland, coming into this game, thought that we were going to have a pretty small lineup from them, but it was announced right before the game that Kevin Love was coming back with limited minutes. And he did only play about 20 minutes, but it did change the complexion of the game completely as the Cavs went back to a traditional lineup with Love at the 5, and all the stuff that I said yesterday about small ball went right out the window.
Yeah.
However, what didn't go out the window was LeBron James had 77.5 fantasy points, good for 6.5 value. You'll remember I told you he was going to be a 6X. Always good to, leave a little room there. And the Greek Freak had a solid night too. You remember I said he was going to be a 5X. He came out 5.5X. So you definitely wanted to spend your money on LeBron, but not really bad if you did it on Greek Freak either.
Miami 149, Denver 141. This game went to double overtime, the most points ever in Heat history. Olynyk with 58.5 fantasy points. James Johnson went off NBA Jam style in double OT. 3-pointers here, there, and everywhere. He had 10 points in double overtime. The second overtime, I mean. Jokic was a beast for Denver, but might have gotten a little bit too tired as he pretty much dropped off in the second overtime hard. I was really excited. I had him, and then, yeah, he got like 1 rebound in the second overtime.
So after the first overtime ended, I sent a message to Philly that James Johnson was pretty much like the worst player ever, and I was never going to take him again.
This is true.
Instant karma. But it was a fun game to watch. What wasn't a fun game to watch, the Hornets dropped their third game this month to the 76ers, 108-94. That'll help with the process. Joel Embiid had 25 points and 19 rebounds, and he narrowly missed the bizarre triple-double with 9 turnovers.
Does that count as a triple-double if you get 10 if the turnovers are in there?
It doesn't, but with Joel Embiid, it almost has to because it's going to be a triple-double unique to him.
Yeah, that takes some talent. Like, you got to be pretty gifted to get that kind of triple-double.
Speaking of talent and gifted, Kemba Walker tried as hard as possible. We were talking about Nick Batum being out, and we were wondering where we knew his minutes would go to Lamb, and I said Malik Monk. But the scoring definitely was going to go somewhere else, and it turned out to be Kemba. And he turned in a 6.5 value for the night, which is pretty good. But I do want to point out, everybody was on Jeremy Lamb as a value pick. He returned 7.5 value, but nobody was on Malik Monk. I told you about him. And yeah, he only had 24 points, but at a $3,200 salary, that was the exact same 7.5 value as Jeremy Lamb, and gave you $1,000 more for somebody else. So I know none of you took him because I didn't see him in anybody's lineups, but it was there for the taking.
That was the 7.5 time I had to hear about that. Brooklyn 118, Memphis 115. JaMychal Green 14 points, 16 boards. I think somebody mentioned that too, that somebody else didn't want to take. But anyway, Tyreke Evans was ruled out of the game, right, pretty much close to tip-off. So that gave plenty of opportunity for everyone in Memphis last night.
And yes, I originally said no to JaMychal Green, but when the news came out that Tyreke Evans was out, it totally changed my tune on that.
JaMychal.
San Antonio 89, Golden State 75. It's almost like that game stopped at the third quarter and they haven't finished playing it yet. But
yeah.
Miami nearly doubled up the reigning champs last night. Go figure. It doesn't change their playoff outlook. The rest of the regular season's starting to look pretty bleak for the Warriors. They're already missing Curry, Durant, and Klay Thompson, which is, conservatively 70% of their offense. And to add injury to insult, Draymond Green left the game in the second quarter and didn't return. So he's not really expected to miss a whole ton of time, but it definitely changed the complexion of the game, and LaMarcus Aldridge just took over for the Spurs. He posted 56.5 fantasy points on the night, and like Philly told you, value pick Quinn Cook. He was very highly owned, but for good reason, and he returned 7.3x value.
Yeah, he did, baby. We've got 7 games on the slate tonight, starting at 8 p.m. Eastern. Take note, the Raptors and Magic play tonight, but they're not on the slate, as Steve politely pointed out to me earlier today. So you've got an extra hour to make lineup changes.
Or if you live in Orlando, there's $10 tickets for that game tonight. Come on, go out and watch.
Yay.
Another game, though, that's much, much better, and the tickets are much more expensive. The first game on our primetime slate tonight, Oklahoma City at Boston. Now, Boston's missing Kyrie Irving, Marcus Smart, and Jaylen Brown. And the offense has been running through Terry Rozier, though at a $7,300 price tag, he's not the bargain that he was a couple weeks ago, and I'm not really looking in that direction. Jason Tatum at $5,700, though, definitely a bargain. He's hit 6x value in 3 of his last 4 games. For the Thunder, the big question is, do you pay up for Westbrook tonight? My first thought's no, but not a dig against Russ. It's more just that I don't see as many good value picks to pair with him tonight. So that's one other thing that you guys got to think about too, is you're going to get handcuffed a lot by, putting a big star in there. And if there aren't corresponding value picks that night to go along with it, it's just not as appealing of an option.
We got the Clippers at the Timberwolves, the battle of the bigs, DeAndre Jordan versus Karl Anthony Towns, heavyweight championship fight. We got Nemanja Yeah. 5,800 is a lot, but he's been great lately. Getting tons of minutes. Jeff Teague, point guard, 6,400 for Minnesota. Had 52.5 fantasy points last time out in Houston. Worth a look.
Yeah, especially with Jimmy Butler out for the Timberwolves. They've been getting contributions from a lot of different guys on any given night. We thought it might fall to Wiggins, but he really hasn't answered the call, and I
never does.
Say, he's a bust at this point for me.
He never does. You expect Wiggins to, have that opportunity. He lets me down every time. Every time, that guy.
I'm going to take a little side note here. I remember watching YouTube hype videos on Maple Jordan, getting real excited for the guy. He's been anything but exciting in the NBA. Atlanta at Utah. Now, the Utah Jazz are actually my pick to win the championship this year. And I know it's crazy, but I like the underdog. They've won their last, 20 out of 21 games, something like that. It's pretty crazy. But they added a lot of grit at the deadline with Jay Crowder, and they've backfilled the loss of Gordon Hayward with the emergence of Joe Ingles. And just in general, they have a lot of players that are really unique. Ricky Rubio is a unique talent passing, but I'm going to focus on Rudy Gobert, the Stifle Tower. 8,400 center. He's kind of this nice mix of a guy that's really good for head-to-head, but also has the potential to be in your GPP lineup too. So I've got him locked in both those lineups tonight. Now, Rudy Gobert getting a lot of the ball is actually going to help out Atlanta in a weird way, because Dwayne Dedmon is their center, and I'll get to him later on the value picks, but with all the action coming in with Gobert, he's going to have a lot to do tonight, and there's definitely some rebounds for the taking, so going up against Gobert actually tends to boost the guy he's going up against in a weird way. The other pick I want to look at too on Atlanta, 5,700 for Dennis Schroeder. That could return 6 to 7 times value.
Yep, I like him. Dallas Mavericks, New Orleans Pelicans. That's a hard one to say for me. New Orleans Pelicans. Would imagine Dallas will start Nerlens Noel in Nerlens. Get it?
Exactly.
3,800 against high-priced superstar Anthony Davis tonight. Hey, love Anthony Davis. Dallas gets Barea and Harrison Barnes back, so downgrade Yogi Ferrell, as he had 38.25 last time out, but he hasn't played more than 20 minutes in the last 4 games before Barea and Barnes were playing.
Detroit at Phoenix. This game kind of sucks, but you still have to pay attention to it for fantasy purposes. Phoenix is in the same boat as Atlanta. There's really nothing to play for except holding auditions for next year's rotation. Devin Booker is about half the offense, and he's questionable tonight. The other half of the offense, TJ Warren, is doubtful tonight. So basically, the Suns are loaded with frustrating young bigs with potential. You got Alex Len, Dragon Bender, what a great name, right? And Marquise Chris. But they should have their hands full with Blake Griffin and Andre Drummond tonight. And this game starts at 10 p.m. Eastern, so just really look at the notes for this one, because Booker and Warren being out creates so much more opportunity for all the Suns players. And the other thing, too, is I have this weird little hunch that Detroit might sit one of either Drummond or Blake Griffin on the back-to-back. But I don't know if I'm right, so just check the news.
Houston at Portland. Another just great game. We got Lillard at 9,300, Chris Paul at 8,000, Harden at 11,200. Is he worth it?
Nope.
McCollum at 6,700. Sneaky play. A couple of value picks that Steve's going to get to as he scrapes the bottom of the barrel. The Rockets are on a 5-game win streak, and the Trailblazers are on a 13-game win streak. Something's got to give.
As Philly mentioned, we got some value picks for you. Not a whole lot at point guard. I put these guys here just to put their names there. I wouldn't really recommend taking any of them unless you are an extreme risk taker. I had Dwight Bikes last night. He sucked. He had like 7 points. But again, these are very risky picks. Now, when it comes to shooting guard, though, much better picks. We got Eric Gordon, 4,900. I'd roll with him in any kind of lineup. He is a little streaky because he's a three-point shooter, and a lot of the offense does run through Harden. However, he seems to be a lock for 30 points most nights. Now, just like we were telling you about Booker and TJ Warren being out, I think even with them in, Troy Daniels seems to be a decent play, but with them out, he elevates to a near lock. Kind of the same way that we were talking about Jeremy Lamb yesterday. I don't know if he's really got much potential to put more than 30 to 35 points on, but I also see his floor being closer to 20 to 25. Small forward, we got a couple good picks there too. Trevor Ariza, good head-to-head pick. I wouldn't mess with him in your GPPs. I just don't think he'll return the right value. Maurice Harkless, I don't know how I feel about him, but Portland, when they're playing Houston, I just see the game being really high scoring. So it might just be a race to see how many guys you can get in your lineup from that game. At power forward, John Collins from Atlanta. I'm not sure how I feel about him versus Dedmon. You might even be able to roll with both of them and have good luck. Jay Crowder at 4,600 from Utah. Definitely a head-to-head pick. Don't put him in your GPP lineup. But GPP-wise, Nerlens Noel, 3,800. I mean, it'd be easy for him to put in 30, 35 points if he starts. He didn't play the last game. Don't know what that was all about. But Narland's got to play in Narland, so roll with him.
You would figure. Also, I want to point out, don't forget about Greg Monroe. He's not sexy, but at 4,900, he gets the job done.
Absolutely. Right? Another great head-to-head pick, too.
Yeah, I love it. Safe floor. You know he's getting 10 boards, 10 points. You know what you're getting there. Finally, we get to the SPN lineups. Special player of the day! Make sure to have him in your lineups if you want to be eligible for the SPN lineup special $10 prize. Today, we're going with power forward for the Detroit Pistons, 8,500, Blake Griffin. Get him in your lineup, whether he plays or whether he doesn't. It doesn't matter, guys. Put him in your lineup if you want that $10 prize. If he sits down and gets you 0 points, who cares? All right? Get him in your lineup. Get $10 in free, no limit coin. Check us out on Twitter for the news, the injuries, the updates at SPN Lineups. Hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. Make sure to leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, share the video all over the world. Check out CryptoFantasySports.com and all the links below. Good luck, and we'll see you tomorrow.